Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be playing some more Donkey Kong Jr. on the Colecovision. This is a really well done port. I'm sure anybody that's ever played on the ColecoVision or even seen it knows that it's a pretty good game. Um, there's Junior there. The graphics are really well done. I've played this one probably a few times on my channel already. And you know that if you've been watching my channel, I'm a big fan of like the Intellivision. And Donkey Kong Jr. on the Intellivision was really well done as well. But this one obviously graphically is a lot better. It kind of gives you the feel of the art. Whoa, I just touched Mario there. I just died by touching Mario. That's crazy. I misjumped. But you know, the graphics on this one and the gameplay, it really does make you feel like you're playing on the arcade. And I think they did a really good job. You know, I think out of all the Donkey Kong Juniors I've played, the ColecoVision one is probably my most favorite. I love the Intellivision version, don't get me wrong. But that's my own bias because I grew up with the Intellivision. I had it on Intellivision. I got it as I think it was like a Christmas present or something. So I always loved the Intellivision version. But this one I can definitely say is a lot better done, I guess. I don't know, more well done. Now, obviously this kind of, I don't know what you want to say. Like, some people have this idea that Coleco intentionally made the third-party ports bad or poor, just to make this one look better. But I've often been an advocate saying that that's not true, and I know because I've talked to some of the programmers who have done the ports for these games, and they've said, you know, the opposite, that they actually put a lot of work into it, like especially the Atari 2600 versions. You know, they're similar to the Intellivision, where they only have like a single or two screens or three screens or whatever. You know, in this case, like for the original Donkey Kong, there was only two boards on the Atari one and two boards on the Intellivision one. But that didn't happen with the Donkey Kong Jr. They had more boards, but the graphics weren't the greatest and all that other stuff. And I've heard that over and over and over again. But you have to remember that Coleco, at the time, really only focused on their own console. So they hired their own dedicated programmers. They probably put more money into their own, you know, games that were going to be released on their own platform. That doesn't necessarily mean that they intended on the third-party games to be terrible. I think they just didn't put the effort and money into them. They hired third-party programmers. They gave them a deadline. They gave them, you know, how much they were going to pay them. And that was it. And I don't think they really put a lot of, you know, extra thought into it. It was just like, yeah, make me a port of Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. and Saxon and Venture and make it, you know, fit on this size cartridge and, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but overall, I think like all versions of this game is actually pretty playable. The Atari 2600, yeah, it's a little bit more rough. And the programmer that did it, a really nice guy, that was Dan Kitchen, who is the brother of Gary Kitchen, who also programmed the Atari 2600 version of the original Donkey Kong. So, you know, the two Kitchen brothers, they did a lot of great work. They were great programmers. There's no way I'm ever going to believe that they intentionally made a game bad. It's just they were under a lot of restrictions and timelines and all that other stuff to make the games work. Now, we don't know, at least to this point, I don't know who programmed the Coleco Donkey Kong for the Intellivision or the Junior. The only thing I could ever get out of that was it was some third-party developer. So far, I've never been able to find out who did it, and you know all the details behind it. We don't know what their timeline was. We don't know how much they got paid, and all that other stuff. What they were told, how much knowledge they had of the original game. That's another thing too, right? You gotta go back to like the early 80s. Not everybody was skilled in these games. Not everybody knew the arcade games. Who knows what they were given? Maybe they were even just given a drawing of the game or a basic concept. So yeah, we don't know, and it's just like I just don't buy into that theory, and I've talked about it a lot that I don't think Coleco intentionally sabotaged their ports. But going back to this one is well done, and you could tell that they did put a lot of effort and a lot of work into it. It looks almost arcade perfect. I mean, you have to also account for the fact that it's on a television. I mean, you got this wide screen instead of the tall screen of an arcade. So they really did a great job in compensating for that fact. And if you think about like the even just Donkey Kong on the Colecovision, they had to do the same thing. They had to change the board around. They put Donkey Kong on the other side. They had to, they had to move things around to make it fit on a television screen, which I think in itself is an achievement. Going back in the day when they had limited resources and what they had to work with. But I think this game was really well done, and I really enjoy this. I love putting this one in and playing it every once in a while. It's challenging. It looks graphically pleasing. I like Donkey Kong up at the top there. Mario looks like Mario. I mean, you can see him right there. He looks like Mario. Even though at this point, I'm not sure if he was... I think this is actually the first time they called him Mario was in the Donkey Kong Jr. I could be wrong, but I think that's when they first came up with the name. I don't know. Because Donkey Kong, he was named Jumpman in the beginning. And then he was given the name Mario. So I think Donkey Kong Jr. was the first time that he got that name. And then, of course, when Mario Brothers came out, was when we first got Luigi. Although, that being said, in the arcade version of this game, you do see two Marios hoisting up the cage of Donkey Kong, which you don't, unfortunately, get to see in these console versions. They kind of left out that one screen, which is a shame. Like, you have to go to, like, the computer versions, the ones that showed up on any of the older computers, to possibly see that screen. It's just like in Donkey Kong itself, where at the beginning when you see Kong himself banging on the girders and constructing the board itself. They kind of don't have that in a lot of these console versions. I don't know why that is. I don't know why, I had to see that on my Commodore 64 because Atari didn't do that, and Intellivision didn't do that, Colecovision didn't do that. I think not until the NES version that we actually saw Donkey Kong himself doing his whole climbing up the ladders. Actually, I'm starting to wonder, was it on the Nintendo version? Maybe I'm making that up. Maybe it wasn't even in that one either. But I definitely know it was in the Commodore 64 version. And I think even the Atari 400, 800 computers, where they had that animation. And of course, in the DK Arcade for the Intellivision, which is a homebrew, really well done homebrew, and then its follow-up, the D2K version, which has 4 extra levels, so you got like 8 levels in total. Really well done game on the Intellivision. If you're a Donkey Kong fan, you should definitely look into D2K for the Intellivision, or otherwise DK Arcade. Programmed by Carl Mueller Jr., released by Electronite, a company that does nothing but quality games. And I'm losing, like, badly. Oh man! I can't get anywhere. As you can see, I didn't do too well in this version. But, you know, I still enjoy playing it. I'm not the best player, but I love playing it. Anyways, let me know what you think. Throw some comments down below. What is your favorite Donkey Kong Jr. or Donkey Kong game? I always like to hear it. Throw your comments down below. And I hope you subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.